YouTube, making this short video because I haven't put anything out in a long time, and a number of people have asked me if I've given up on this project or if I'm no longer putting the process online. The answer to both those is no. I haven't given up on the project, and I just haven't had the time to do anything on it. It's been a real busy year, but I'm really eager to get back on this project and start doing something with it. So let me tell you where things stand right now. As you've seen on the prior videos, the car is completely disassembled and in pieces. The plan is to clean, refinish, rebuild, or replace the components and mount them back on the chassis as I do so. Before I can do that, I need to prep the chassis, and that involves epoxy coating it in a handful of places. Once that's done, I can start to remount the various components. Let me show you the places on the chassis that need to be epoxy coated. It's a cold day here in Connecticut. All right, so right in here, you can see some rust building up over time. You can tell when these bolts are in that if the car is tipped forward, the water will sit there. Now, it shouldn't sit there that long, right? I mean, this car was laid up for a long time and the two front tires were low on air, so the car was tilted forward, and as a result, water had just pooled there and it's starting to turn to rust. So I figured I would fill this hole well with epoxy. Do the same thing on this side, although it's not showing anything. Let's see, and then along the side of the car, these little metal straps where I think it's the clutch line runs, right? That's on that side. Yeah, the clutch line's on that side. The brake lines are the clutch line where they run down these. These have gotten a little rusty, so those are going to get coated in epoxy. This whole shift opening saddle that's now welded in place is going to get coated, probably get taped off, and then it'll get epoxied so that rust doesn't set in. And finally, on the back of it, I've said it before, this chassis member here is rough, and this is where the turbo exhaust would be creating a lot of heat. So I'm thinking what I'll do is just sand this down, rough it up. Same thing with that side, even though it's perfect. And then just epoxy coat those two lower members. I really don't want to have to do the entire chassis, especially since the entire chassis is really in good shape, with the exception of those areas that I just pointed out. And even those aren't that bad, but while I'm under the hood, might as well fix them. So that's what has to be epoxied on the chassis. As far as components that are off the car that I want to start working on, I have the steering rack apart. I got rags shoved in it because it's going to get sandblasted. But all the pieces have been removed. It probably didn't have to be rebuilt. Everything was tight, but it's apart. Might as well do it. I've got the rebuild kit, the different components from the rebuild kit, replacing the old ones. So it's got to get sandblasted, and then it's got to get epoxy coated. And unfortunately, it's 24 degrees in Connecticut right now, and it's beginning of January, so it's going to be a few months before it gets warm enough to paint outside. So I've been thinking I might try to set up a tent in here. I have electric heat in here. I can get it up above 60 degrees. Maybe, I don't know. It might be that just might be a wasted effort. I don't know yet. I don't want to wait till spring at this point. I mean, I've waited this long, but I don't know that I want to wait till spring before I can start epoxy coating. I can't sandblast those until I'm ready to coat them because I don't want them exposed to the air. So I'm kind of, stuck right now. The epoxy that I'm going to use is this SPI stuff, Southern Polyurethanes something or other. I had been intending to use this POR 15, but the more I read about it, there's a number of conflicting testimonials on how well it actually works. A number of people said it looks great, but it'll just peel right off at some point. Other people have said that's only if you don't treat it properly, and I've got the degreaser and the metal prep. But the thing that really turned me off about it is they say that it coats rust better than it coats clean metal. And so I called the company and I said, I'm using this on clean metal, and I've got your degreaser and I've got your metal prep. Will this adhere to the clean, shiny metal? They said, yeah, but what you should do is when you have clean metal, hose it down with a hose first and let a very thin layer of rust form, and that'll make it adhere even better. And to me, that doesn't make sense. I'm blasting off the rust and the dirt and the debris. Why would I want to add rust back on to get it to adhere? This is a true epoxy. It's a two-part. You mix it. it sets, and I haven't heard or read a bad thing about SPI. I've got two different colors. Let's see. I've got a black epoxy and the gray epoxy. Gray will be used on the chassis to match the galvanization that the chassis is done in, and the black epoxy will be used anywhere the metal's black, like on here. This lower sway bar, rusty, will get blasted and then coated in black epoxy. So down here you can see the rear wheel hub assemblies. One of them is completely apart, and the one over there is still intact. That's so even though I took a video of me taking it apart, I know how it goes back together. So I have to look at those components still, figure out what's going to get sandblasted, and start that process. Again, I don't want to blast something if I can't epoxy coat it, almost immediately, because I don't want it to be exposed to the open air. I do have a question. I would love people's input on the proper way to clean this. I have a degreaser, purple degreaser that I can spray on this, and then I could scrub it and get it nice and cleaned up. And I'm just wondering if there's a better way to get this cleaned up. I don't want to epoxy coat pieces I don't have to epoxy coat. These are just dirty. So I'll try it with a scrub brush and some purple cleaner that I've got kicking around here somewhere. Degreaser purple cleaner with a scrub brush and see if I can get these to shine up like new. That would be nice. Of course, the old wheel bearings in here, they turn just fine. I mean, they're fine, but there's absolutely no reason I wouldn't replace these now that it's all apart. So they will get pushed out and replaced. And then bolts that are zinc coated like this. I can clean these up, but I'd probably take the zinc coating off of them. So I'm trying to figure out if it makes sense for me to buy an Eastwood setup kit to do my own zinc coating on these, or do I send them out? I think sending them out would be prohibitively expensive over time, especially because I'm just going to be sending out the ones for this assembly, not the ones for the other assembly over there, because I need that to put it back together. So I'm really toying with the idea of just buying the Eastwood setup to do my own zinc coating on these. That brings me to the engine. I got a call from the machine shop about a month ago now, saying, "Hey, your engine's mostly together. I'm missing some bolts for this and that. Can you give them to me?" And so I had to go through all my bins of stuff and figure out what bolts he's referring to. And I still have to get those cleaned up and sent to him. But he's got the engine together, the new rings, the new head bolts, studs are all in, the bearings are new, connecting rod bolts are all new. The engine is together for the most part. Things like the intake, I need the bolts for the intake, and the front and rear crank cover, those bolts, those gaskets, I need to get those. So he's waiting on me at this point. I had waited for, started this project 3 years ago, and it's been sitting at some machine shop during that entire length of time. And now, unfortunately, it's the machine shop telling me, we're waiting on you to get some stuff to us. So that's on my plate of things to do over the next few days, hopefully, is to go through some diagrams, figure out the bolts that they need, and get those off to them so they can get my engine back to me. That'll be huge. And then ideally, I want the chassis done so I can mount the engine right on the chassis. It doesn't have to be totally done, but it's got to be to the point where it's at least epoxy coated. My bolts are refreshed. All the engine mounts are there and in place. So yeah, there's a bit of work I have to do in order to push this project forward. But anyway, the project is really, it's an ambitious project. I know that, but I really enjoy doing this. I just haven't been able to over the past year and a half. So now I'm going to start turning my focus back to it, and hopefully you'll start seeing some progress with me posting the videos as I do it. So thank you for following along.